Benjamin Netanyahu has been sabotaging a two-state solution for decades.
I stopped the government meeting. I said, I'm not signing. Only when the letter came in the course of the meeting to me and to Arafat, only then did I sign the Hebron Agreement, or rather ratify it. It had already been signed. Why does this matter? Because at that moment, I actually stopped the Oslo Accord.
The Brits know that one of the ways to really get under the Israeli skin is to recognize Palestine.
I can confirm the UK will recognize the state of Palestine.
Especially with Netanyahu. His ego won't allow it. Keir Starmer is not doing this because he's humanitarian. He doesn't care about recognizing a Palestinian state. What he cares about is that Israel is conducting a genocide while the UK are allies with them. That's why he's doing this. That is why he's making this recognition of Palestine contingent upon Israel pulling back on their military campaign.
Unless the Israeli government takes substantive steps to end the appalling situation in Gaza.
So as you guys know, right, to make this all make sense, this comes on the heels of President Macron of France basically saying that he is going to recognize a Palestinian state in September. And basically the Brits have taken a page out of France's book, and they're saying now they're going to recognize Palestine in September if Israel doesn't, come to terms with something that they want, making substantial change in the way they're approaching this conflict, right? Now, this kind of goes to show how much power Israel has and how, honestly, everyone is powerless to stop them. Okay? Because when France declared that they were going to recognize a Palestinian state, a bunch of Israeli government officials took to Twitter to condemn France, right? They said things along the lines of, you're endangering the life of Israelis, you're supporting terrorism, you're rewarding terrorism by doing this, blah, 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 right? And the UK, obviously, we know that let's be honest here, the UK are pussies, right? And the UK also has a very large Muslim population. And the UK knows that they support Israel financially and diplomatically, but they also see that what Israel is doing is starting to become indefensible. Even people like Piers Morgan, who are hardcore Zionists, are starting to come out and say, yo, enough is enough. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Remember Piers Morgan? Literally, like over the past 2 years, what has he been saying? Do you condemn Hamas? Do you condemn Hamas? Israel has a right to defend itself. Do you condemn Hamas? Literally, that was like his fucking go-to line, right? But now, you see, he's not asking that fucking dumbass question no more. And he's even come out himself, which I will give him credit for, saying he's changed his mind, saying that he can no longer defend the state of Israel. So why do I tell you guys this? I tell you guys this because the entire international community is starting to crack down on what the fuck Israel's doing, and they can't defend it anymore. When you got the President of the United States making conflicting statements to what the Israeli government is saying when it comes to starvation, when you got the President of France saying, you know what, we're going to recognize a Palestinian state, despite the fact that the Israelis try to claim that that's rewarding terrorism. And now you got the UK, who is a close ally of Israel. The United States and the UK are the closest allies to Israel, by the way, chat. Okay? The UK is pretty much in lockstep with us. Everything we do, they follow. This is why I don't blame British citizens when they actually are interested in American politics. Because the UK understands that if we go to war or if we do some type of military action or whatever, they're probably going to follow. I'll give you guys an example of this. Back in 2003 with the Iraq War. So back in 2003, Tony Blair sent a bunch of soldiers over and they died. And it was actually very unpopular with the British people because it was a pointless war. So the point I'm trying to make is this. It's taking significant political pressure to get Israel to stop doing what they're doing. Okay? So the UK is basically run out of options. Don't think that Keir Starmer wants to recognize a Palestinian state for humanitarian purposes. No, that's not the reason why he's doing it. Okay? The reason why he's doing it is because he's tired of Israel conducting a genocide while the United Kingdom is an ally of them. Do you understand, guys? I'm gonna make this very fucking clear. He doesn't care about recognizing a Palestinian state. What he cares about is that Israel is conducting a genocide while the UK are allies with them. That's why he's doing this. That is why he's making this recognition of Palestine contingent upon Israel pulling back on their military campaign. Right? So that's why he's doing this. So basically he's dangling the carrot like, look, I know you guys don't want us to recognize a Palestinian state, but if you guys continue this campaign, we are. And just so you guys know, your boy Benjamin Netanyahu, who's been in power for the better part of the last 30 years, right? He has campaigned and worked and done everything in his power to sabotage the two-state solution. Okay? Done everything in his power. And instead of me just yapping about it, let me go ahead and give you guys proof. Okay, I know a lot of you guys are probably listening in, so I'll read it for you guys. He's speaking in Hebrew. All right, so Netanyahu, what are the Oslo Accords? The Oslo Accords, which the Knesset signed, I asked before the elections, will you act according to them? And I answered yes, subject to mutuality and limiting the retreats. Now, real quick, for those of you that don't know, let me go ahead and pull this up real fast. I've done it before, but I know we got a lot of new viewers in here. So the Oslo Accords, guys, okay, in my opinion, were probably the closest we were ever going to get to a two-state solution. Okay, here you can see the famous photo of Bill Clinton bringing together Yasser Arafat representing the PLO, and then Yitzhak Rabin, who was the prime minister of Israel back then. He ended up getting assassinated after this agreement, by the way, by a far-right member of the Likud party. Who runs the Likud party? Benjamin Netanyahu. So many speculate that Benjamin Netanyahu had Yitzhak Rabin assassinated because of these accords. Okay, but do you intend to limit the retreats? I'll give such interpretations to the accords that will make it possible for me to stop this galloping to the 67 armistice lines. How did we do it? Narrator, the Oslo Accords stated at the time that Israel would gradually hand over territories to the Palestinians at three different pulses, unless the territories in question had settlements or military sites. This is where Netanyahu found a loophole. Boom, there you go. Netanyahu, no one said what defined military sites. Defined military sites, I said, were security zones. As far as I'm concerned, the Jordan Valley is a defined military site. All right, Netanyahu says, how can you tell? How can you tell? But then the question came up of just who would define the defined military sites were. I stopped the government meeting. I said, I'm not signing only when the letter came in the course of the meeting to me and to Arafat, only when did I sign the Hebron agreement, or rather ratify it. It had already been signed. Why does this matter? Because at that moment, I actually stopped the Oslo Accords. There you go, guys. You can hear it from the mouth, the horse's mouth, real time. He's taking credit for stopping the meeting and killing the Oslo Accords, which his prior guy, Yitzhak Rabin, had worked really hard to get. They met over months in Oslo to get this agreement across the finish line. Yitzhak Rabin and Yasser Arafat did. So the UK knows that recognizing Palestine is like the kryptonite for Israel. Because as you guys can see here, me showing you proof, Benjamin Netanyahu has been sabotaging a two-state solution for decades. So the Brits know that one of the ways to really get under the Israeli skin is to recognize Palestine, especially with Netanyahu. His ego won't allow it. Shout out to Kinetic Edge with the gifted sub. But again, I want to make it very clear to all of you guys that are watching. Keir Starmer is not doing this because he's a humanitarian. He's doing this because he doesn't like the fact the United Kingdom is an ally to Israel as they conduct a genocide. So make no mistake about it. If Israel rolls back its military campaign, the United Kingdom will fold and not recognize Palestine. I think the French are probably going to go through with it all the way. I think Macron is going to go through all the way and recognize Palestine. Because the French have always kind of been anti-war, right? Ever since they took that L in World War II, they kind of learned that like, we can't lose again. So I do give Macron credit for that. Bro can't stand up to his wife, but he could definitely stand up to the Israelis, so I'll give him credit there. Bro gets smacked by his wife, but he could definitely stand up to Netanyahu, so I'll give him credit there, man.